What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adventure Outpost. It is Halloween season. We are quickly approaching Halloween Day, so I thought this would be a fun addition to add to our growing list of videos to do our complete Halloween collection. That's right, we're going to talk into all of the horror movies that I currently own. Now, of course, mine, I don't have as much horror as most of the collectors out there that I watch. It seems whenever I watch a lot of collectors, horror is the main genre that they fuck with. I've never been the biggest horror guy. I've gotten into it a lot more recently again, now that I stopped smoking weed every time I watch a movie, that now that I can watch a movie without being high, I've gotten more into horror again, because now I can watch that without having the shit scared out of me while I'm just stoned out of my mind. So I've collected a lot more horror once again. So I figured in today's video it'd be fun. We're going to go in there and we're going to look through all of my horror collection. But quickly before we dive into all of that, if you can, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, drop a comment down below. Let me hear some of the horror titles you've got. Oh, I got a little tickle in my throat. All the good stuff that you love horror-wise. Let me hear your favorites down below. Let's see if any of ours link up together. And now we will dive into my complete horror collection. We're going to start with the DVDs. We'll show off the Blu-rays, the 4Ks, the collections, all the good stuff that we have. And we started off, of course, right here with 28 Days Later. Great freaking zombie movie. Well, then we've got the sequel, 28 Weeks Later. Oh, that tickle in my throat just won't go away. This is another solid zombie movie. I remember seeing 28 Weeks Later in high school in theaters. That was a good time. We've got 1408, another movie that I saw in theaters. This was a solid little thriller for yourself there. We've got the complete A Nightmare on Elm Street 8 movie collection. I've only seen through 4, The Dream Master. I haven't seen any of the other ones after that. I've seen Freddy vs. Jason, that's also in here, but I haven't seen The Dream Child, Final Nightmare, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So I still have to dive in and check all those out. And then we've got the remake, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Saw this in theaters. It was all right. We've got the original, The Amityville Horror. I actually haven't watched this, so I need to get in there and watch that movie. We've got a classic. One of my favorite creature features. We've got Anaconda, and we might as well make it a twofer when we've got Anaconda VHS format also. We got these two bad boys. Maybe we'll add a Blu-ray or a 4K to it if those ever come out at some point. I think they released like a collection that was all of them, but I didn't pick that one up because you couldn't find it anywhere. I do have the first Anaconda's sequel, though. Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. Saw this one in theaters as well. That movie was silly as shit. We've got the remake Black Christmas. I saw this in theaters. It was not very good. We've got Boogeyman. I actually got kicked out of this in theaters when we went and saw it in high school. We were a bunch of just ne'er-do-wells just causing mischief, and we got kicked out. We've got The Butterfly Effect. A neat little horror thriller right there. And then we've got Cabin Fever, an absolutely just disgusting horror movie right there. The body horror in this creeps me out sometimes, or at least it did when I was younger. I haven't seen this since I saw it when I was in high school, and it creeped me the fuck out then. We've got a movie, Campfire Tales. This is a little movie from the 90s. This is a movie actually that my stepdad's brother helped write and direct. He directed a portion of one of the stories that they tell in this movie. It's a pretty solid horror movie. If you've never heard of it, you should check it out. It's got a decent amount of cast in it too. I think you got like Ron Livingston in it, Amy Smart, James Marsden. There's a solid little cast in there. We got the Chernobyl Diaries, never seen it. We got Dark Water with Jennifer Connelly, never seen it. We've got Dawn of the Dead. We loved this movie religiously in high school. We saw it in theaters. We fucking loved it then. We used to watch it all the time, me and my friends, whenever we could. I actually really do enjoy that movie. I think the first like 30 minutes of that movie especially is so tense and well done and just really helps set the stage. I freaking love it. We got Dead Silence. Saw this one in high school. This was a neat little horror movie. James Wan and Leigh Whannell, man, they were legends in the game. We got a classic creature feature right here. You Ate My Bird. Deep Blue Sea. What a wild movie that one is. We've got Deep Rising, another solid creature feature right there. We've got The Descent, is a fucking uncomfortable movie right there. Really, really good. We've got Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Haven't seen that one. We've got Drag Me to Hell. Haven't seen that one. We've got Dreamcatcher, just a tough horror thriller movie right there. The book is actually like pretty entertaining. I like the book a lot. Do not like this movie that much. Another classic creature feature. This one more of a horror comedy. We got Eight-Legged Freaks. What a fucking legend that movie is right there. We got End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger. A nice religious horror movie right there. That's a solid one. I used to watch the movie all the time as a kid because I freaking love Arnold Schwarzenegger. We've got the Evil Dead remake. I'm actually waiting for my 4K version of this to come in. So as soon as that one comes in, this boy will get traded out and we'll have the new version there for us. I remember seeing that one in theaters and that movie creeped me the fuck out also. We've got The Exorcist, one of the classic horror movies. This movie is freaking unnerving and it's awesome. We've got The Faculty, great freaking horror right there. That's another good creature feature. A lot of great creature features here. I just love that stuff. We've got The First Final Destination, fantastic horror movie. We've got Final Destination 2. We've got Final Destination 3. Saw this one in theaters. I actually saw this one in theaters the day before I was flying to Tampa and went to Busch Gardens. Probably not the smartest idea, but we did it because I was 15 years old. You know, you're an idiot when you're 15 years old. We've got The Final Destination in 3D. I remember watching that one at home. I don't think I saw that one in theaters. And then I don't have the last one. I don't think I've ever seen the last one. I want to get the collection. I've just been waiting because it wasn't something I wanted to buy day one, but I am going to get the whole complete collection on Blu-ray at some point. We've got Frailty. Never seen it. We've got the classic From Dusk Till Dawn, baby. What a fucking wild movie that one is. And then we've got the sequels, From Dusk Till Dawn 2 and From Dusk Till Dawn 3. Never seen the sequels. We've got From Hell, nice little Johnny Depp horror thriller right there about Jack the Ripper. We've got Ghost Ship, an absolutely just brutal movie with the exception of the opening. The opening of this movie is first class. We got John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars, a silly little horror movie right there. We've got Halloween Resurrection. I'm actually waiting. I've just ordered the complete collection of this one and Halloween H2O and The Curse of Michael Myers, waiting for that one to come in. So again, this one will get traded out some point soon. And then we've got Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2. The first one, all right. I remember seeing it in theaters and liked it well enough. The second one was not a fan of. We've got the classic Hannibal right there. Doesn't hold a candle to Silence of the Lambs, but it's still a solid little movie in its own right. The Happening, this is a movie. I remember seeing this in theaters. I did a double feature that night. It was The Happening and The Incredible Hulk. And I don't know which one I disliked more. Probably The Happening. It was at least The Incredible Hulk you could sit through. The Happening, I don't know if I could sit through again. We've got Hide and Seek. Saw this in theaters. I remember sneaking into this in theaters. And it was something, all right. It was very much something. Was it even rated R? I'm like, I remember sneaking into it, but I don't even fucking remember if it was rated R or not. I think it was. We've got this movie High Tension. Never seen it. We've got the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. This was actually the first movie I ever saw high. And it was so intense for me as I think I was 15, that I didn't smoke again until I was in college. Because it was too much. I was like, that was the fucking worst idea ever. Like, why did we do that? And I didn't touch the stuff again until college. We've got the remake of The Hitcher. This one with Sean Bean. It's pretty terrible. And then we got a classic, baby. Hollow Man. Used to watch this movie all the time as a kid. It's so silly, and I fucking love it. We've got Hostel. I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and I was just not for it. The freaking, gore and, sadomasochistic, torture horror was never my bag. Was never really into it. And Eli Roth was really hitting you hard with those in the early 2000s with, Cabin Fever and these two movies. And we got Hostel Part 2. It's another one. I have one friend who fucking loves those, so I went and saw him with them, and I was just like, it is not for me, baby. Which is why I'm kind of turned off from going to see Terrifier 2, because I think that's going to be really like that as well, where it's just absolute gore. So not my bag. If it is for you guys, cool, more power to you. Glad you can get some enjoyment out of those. Just not for my speed. We've got the double feature of I Know What You Did Last Summer and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. We'll see I Know What You Did Last Summer again later in the video, but we kept this one around obviously because we have the sequel here. They're both fine movies. We've got the horror comedy Idle Hands. This was a classic when I was a kid. I loved that movie. We've got Interview with the Vampire. It's a solid little vampire movie. I should have to watch it again. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. We've got the original It, the TV movie. This movie is wild. Tim Curry's Pennywise is fucking just terrifying as shit. We've got Joyride, classic little horror thriller right there. We've got Jeepers Creepers 2. I don't know why these are backwards. And first Jeepers Creepers. I enjoy the first one. This one is really stupid. But I still enjoy this one as well. Fuck the guy who made these movies. That guy's a piece of shit. But those movies are fun. We've got Jaws 2, baby. As good as a sequel to an absolute classic could be, this movie is at least better than it has any right being. I still get some enjoyment out of that movie. This movie is schlocky as shit. I can enjoy it. It's not good, but I can enjoy it just because, you know, you got Dennis Quaid in it, and it's a shark rampaging a water and an aquarium. Like, yeah, sure, let's go. Sign me up. And then there's this movie. I don't even really know what to say about this movie. You should see it. It's hilarious. I don't know how this movie ever got agreed to be made, but it did. And we thank whoever agreed to make that for making it, because it brings lots of enjoyment. We got the classic original right up there. We'll see him later in this list, but for now we got those beautiful sequels. Speaking of beautiful sequels, we got Jason X. This movie is absurd. We used to watch this all the time when we were kids in high school because it was just so fucking silly, and I love it. We've got Lake Placid, another fucking phenomenal creature feature. We got a lot of creature features. I might have to do a top ranking of all the creature features that we have and have seen. Would you like to see it? Sound off down below. Let me know. We got Land of the Dead. This one's fine. We've got The Mist. I saw this movie in theaters, and it fucked me up. I think it fucked all of us up because none of us spoke on the way home, just sitting with the ending of this movie. Just freaking so good. We've got the remake to My Bloody Valentine. This is just nonsense. We've got Night of the Living Dead. I actually haven't seen that one. And then we've got the original Omen. Fucking just unnerving. The original horror movies from like the 70s and 80s are just so unnerving. Like, they just knew how to do atmospheric horror so well. And this movie is freaking so good. We've got The Others. I've actually never seen this movie, but I hear it's really freaking good. I gotta check that one out. We've got the remake to Piranha. This movie is a fucking trip. Just wild as shit. We've got the remake Prom Night. I actually haven't seen that movie. We've got Red Dragon. Just a slow, steady decline from Silence of the Lambs. But this one has enough good stuff in it that it makes it worth watching. We've got this movie The Relic. Never seen it. We've got the first Resident Evil. We've got Resident Evil Apocalypse, and we've got Resident Evil Extinction. These are the only three I have. I saw all three of these in theaters. I actually enjoy the first two. The first one I actually think is pretty decent, even though it's nothing like any of the video games. The second one is kind of garbage, but I get some enjoyment out of it because it's just so goddamn silly. And I remember seeing it in theaters as a kid in high school and just enjoying it, so I get that little bit of nostalgia out of it. I want to get the whole box set, the 4K box set at some point, but, you know, I don't want to spend, like, the amount of money that they're trying to charge you for it, because I'm not the biggest fan of those movies. But if I see it, like, drop down in price somewhere, or we come across Prime Day or the Black Friday deals and it drops down, I'm probably going to pick it up. We've got the original Ring. I'm actually waiting for that Ring Steelbook to be coming in, so this will get traded out soon. This is my fiance's, this movie terrifies her. She can't watch this movie because it scared the shit out of her so badly when she was a kid. So I'm waiting for that 4K to come in, and then I'm going to try and get her to watch it again. And then we've got The Ring 2. I remember seeing this in theaters. This one's all right. We've got Scream 4. This is a solid. The Scream movies have always been reliable. Like, they've never made one that's just been outright bad. They've always been very enjoyable. We've got this movie, The Sentinel. I've never seen it. We've got Shadow of the Vampire. Never seen it. We've got Shark Night. Absolute nonsense. You could always count on a good shark movie to pave the way for absolute hilarity. We've got Silent Hill. This movie is not good. I actually don't even have the sequel, and the sequel is the one that I actually saw in theaters. We got Sleepy Hollow. I really enjoy this movie. This is a solid little gothic horror right there. We got Slither. James Gunn, man, just an absolute legend. Great creature feature right here. And then we've got Sorority Row, a nice little slasher movie. It's fine. It's all right. And now we're down to our last pile of DVDs. We've got the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This movie is intense as shit. We've got the remake to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This movie I remember seeing in theaters, and it was fine. Same goes for Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Beginning. Saw this one in theaters, and it was fine. We've got 13 Ghosts. This movie creeped the fuck out of me as a little kid. We've got The Tommy Knockers. Never seen it, but I freaking love that book. We've got the Tremors Attack Pack, which is the first 4 Tremors movies. We'll see the first one again later in this video, but then we've got 2, 3, and 4 here. I've only ever seen the first 2. The first 2 are solid. Never bothered to watch any of the direct-to-DVD ones. We've got this movie Trick or Treat. I actually haven't seen it, but I hear it's a pretty solid anthology horror set. We've got Vacancy, nice little horror thriller. We've got White Noise. I remember seeing this one in theaters. It's all right. It's got Keaton, though, so you know you're in for a good treat there with some Keaton. We've got The Wolfman. This is a silly little movie, but it's entertaining. And then finishing us off in the DVD pile, we've got Daniel Radcliffe in The Woman in Black. I actually haven't seen this movie yet. Now we'll get into our fun Blu-ray 4K box sets, all that good stuff. If you see, we've taken a lot of stuff out of that little pile right over there. But we'll kick it off right over here. We've actually got our Arrow movies first. We got American Werewolf in London. This is a really awesome, like, creature feature werewolf movie. We've got Children of the Corn. This movie used to creep the fuck out of me when I was a little kid. And then, of course, we're seeing it again, baby. We got Tremors. And then over in the Kino Lorber section, they don't do too much horror, but we got a few like horror thriller movies here. We have this movie Deep Star 6, which is a little underwater horror movie. We've got Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is definitely one of the most just creepy, awesome practical effects movies that I've seen in a while. I freaking love that movie. We've got a horror thriller here in Misery, Stephen King's Misery. This is a freaking phenomenal movie. And then the king of all those Hannibal movies that we saw, we've got The Silence of the Lambs. This is a great movie right there. That's probably the peak of horror. One of the few horror movies to win the Big Four, which is Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress. Just phenomenal right there, taking in all the big hits. Then we got our Scream Factory movies. They are primarily known for doing horror movies. We've got Alligator right here. I actually haven't seen this movie yet. I got to get on that if I'm going to do my creature feature list. We've got Army of Darkness. This is more of a horror comedy, but we'll still throw it in there because it does have some elements of it. We've got the original Candyman. This movie scared the ever-living crap out of me as a kid. I didn't sleep for like 3 days after I watched this movie because this movie was just so unnerving to me. We've got the original Child's Play. I actually just watched this the other night for the first time in forever, and it is so much sillier than I remember as a kid. Like, these movies actually creeping me out, and I watched it now as an adult, and I'm like, this is the silliest fucking thing I've ever seen. I haven't watched the sequels yet, but I'm going to at some point during this week. We got Child's Play 2, and we've got Child's Play 3, so I will be diving into those 2 bad boys sometime this week. We've got the original The Fog. This is a neat little thriller right there. John Carpenter, just a fucking master of horror. And then we've got our classics. We've got the original Halloween here, still the OG, absolute king. We've got Halloween 2. This one's all right. We've got one of my personal favorite of all the Halloween sequels, because it has nothing to do with Michael Myers, and that is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I wish, beyond wishing, that they had stuck to their guns and just made Halloween an anthology series doing something different every time, because that sounded so much more interesting than just doing the same old Michael Myers bullshit every year, like this one, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, and then also with this one, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. And then we're waiting, like I said, we're waiting for the collection to come in, number 6, which I think is The Curse, and then H2O and Halloween Resurrection, so those will get added to the pile very shortly. We've got Happy Death Day. I actually don't have the second one because you couldn't buy that one in stores. I am going to order it at some point. I've just been waiting for the right time to do it. Then we've got another creature feature here, The Howling. This movie is all right. I remember being super excited when they announced that it was coming out because I was like, that's a movie I've always wanted to see. And then it was one of those ones where it just turned out to be okay. We've got Life Force here. I actually haven't seen this movie yet, but I'm looking forward to watching it from the guy who did Poltergeist. Poltergeist being one of my favorite horror movies. Then we've got another John Carpenter one here, The Prince of Darkness. I actually haven't seen this movie yet. That's another one I got to dive in on. We've got Return of the Living Dead. I actually just picked this one up. I still have to give this one a watch. And then a body horror creature feature movie that I loved as a kid is the original Species. Gotta check this one out. I did not realize how many people were in this movie too. You got Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen, Alfred Molina, Forrest Whitaker, and then of course Natasha Henstridge as the creature. What a cast for that movie. Finishing off our row over here, we've got from our Vestron series, we've got Shivers, Sundown the Vampire in Retreat, Candyman Day of the Dead, I actually haven't seen any of those movies, so I do have to watch them at some point. And then I got my little Steven Spielberg section right there, and we're going to throw in the OG, baby. We got it right up there. We got it right here. It is Jaws, the absolutely legendary movie, the King of Kings. And now kicking us off in our actual little horror genre section right there, we start off with 30 Days of Night, solid little horror vampire movie. We've got Annabelle Creation, creepy ass fucking horror movie. Those movies creep me the fuck out. We've got Antebellum. I actually haven't gotten a chance to watch that one yet. We've got The Black Phone, this year's Black Phone. Absolutely huge box office success that this movie was. It's a fine little horror movie. We've got Brightburn, What If Superman Was a Douchebag. It's a solid little movie. We've got the remake of Candyman. It's a movie that is a real slow burn for like 2/3 of it. That was super interesting. And then it wraps itself up way too quickly and kind of just blows itself up on impact. But for the first 2/3 of that movie, I was super enjoying it. We've got what might be my favorite horror movie of all time is The Conjuring. This movie creeped the fuck out of me when I finally watched it, and I loved it for it. Conjuring 2 is a solid sequel. It's a little long for my taste, but it's still very solid. It has a lot of really creepy imagery in it. And then we've got last year's The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Fine, definitely doesn't hold a candle to the first two, but I could watch Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga do this shit all day. We've got Crawl. I didn't pick up the 4K simply just because I got this one. I didn't know if I really wanted it. Maybe if I come across it and it's got a little bit of a reduced price, we might upgrade it finally and get rid of this bad boy. But Crawl, great creature feature. I remember seeing that in theaters and just absolutely loving it. We've got The Crazies. Saw this one in theaters as well. Creeped the fuck out of me when I was younger. I'm very easy to creep out when it comes to horror movies. We got Crimson Peak. This is a nice little gothic horror movie from Guillermo del Toro. We've got freaking incredible movie. We got Dr. Sleep right here. Absolutely love this movie. I might be one of the few people that like this better than I like The Shining movie. That's right, I just said that. I like The Shining movie. I think it's really good, but I also think there's large stretches of it that are really boring. And having read the book, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not happy that they cut out from the book. But this movie is an insanely great, faithful adaptation. Mike Flanagan is an absolute horror god. He is the man. We bow down to his prowess. We've got Don't Breathe. This movie is fucking wild. The home invasion movie. Definitely check that one out. And then we've got the sequel, Don't Breathe 2. Not nearly as good as the first one, but it's still solid. This one's more like action-y than it is horror, like the first one. But it's still got a solid frame of base there. They're still super enjoyable. We've got Dracula Untold. Just a rough vampire movie. We've got The First Escape Room. I actually haven't seen it. And then we've got Escape Room Tournament of Champions. Haven't seen that one either. We've got The Forever Purge. This was a solid one. I actually enjoyed this one more than I did some of the other ones. Simply because it was much more intense and had a lot more forward momentum than the other ones do. It's a solid movie. We have here, it's a twofer, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. We'll come across Dracula later again in this video, but we kept this one here, obviously, for Frankenstein. I want to eventually get the Frankenstein Arrow, so eventually I could upgrade and get rid of this bad boy. We've got Freaky. This was a fun little body horror movie. It came out, I think it was like the end of 2020, or it might have been in 2021, but this is solid, fun little movie right there. We got the remake of Friday the 13th, The Killer Cut. It's a movie. That's for sure. It's a movie. We got Jordan Peele's original Get Out, baby. Absolute master psychological thriller right here. Phenomenal movie. We've got 2018's original remake of Halloween. It pretty much just does The Force Awakens, where they're just like, let's just remake the first movie and people will love it. And they did. And this movie has been tricking you into thinking it's a great movie ever since. It's fine. I like it. I don't think it's fucking phenomenal. If I'm going to watch a Halloween movie, I'm going to watch the original. But it's serviceable enough. What isn't serviceable is this monstrosity. Halloween Kills. This movie is rough. Definitely up there with some of my least favorite Halloween movies. It is all over the place. Showing back up again, we got I Know What You Did Last Summer. This is a fine little horror movie. It's really not that scary either for like a slasher movie. It takes a long time to even start killing people. And even then, like, I think they killed Johnny Galecki, like, early in the movie just so, like, you could think that there's, like, actually killing going on. And even then, like, the movie is just not nearly as scary as I remember it being when I was a kid. And then we've got the Insidious collection, probably the scariest main title card that I've ever seen in movies before. This first one is a trip, freaking intense as shit. I just watched the second one not too long ago. This movie is also intense as shit, really solid. And then I haven't seen Insidious 3 or Insidious The Last Key. I'm definitely going to check them out, especially with Insidious 5 coming out next year. Even though that one coming out is a sequel to 1 and 2, and I think 3 and 4 were prequels, I'm still going to check those out just so that I've got the whole world in my hands at that point. We've got It Chapter 1. This is a really solid freaking movie. Freaking enjoy this movie so much. It Chapter 2 is all right. It's solid. It definitely needed some trimming of the fat, but I still think that it's just still a really good movie. The kids are great. The people playing the adult versions of the kid are great. And then, of course, freaking Pennywise is just really freaking masterful in that. We've got It Follows, a nice fucking little indie horror movie right there. This movie is intense. We've got this horror thriller, Knock Knock, with Keanu Reeves on a young Ana de Armas. It's not very good. Oh, I got stuff falling over here. We got to fix that. We got Krampus. Krampus. I never picked up the naughty cut from Scream Factory because I got this one. But like everything else that I've been saying, if I find it for a good price, maybe I'll upgrade. We've got The Last Exorcism. Never seen it. We've got The Lost Boys. I actually just watched this the other night. This is phenomenal 80s cheese right there. One of the better vampire movies that I've seen. We got Ma. Haven't seen it. We've got Malignant. Fucking wild horror movie from James Wan. The whole ending to this movie is absolutely batshit wild. It's just so good. We've got The Meg. Another freaking shark movie. Can never go wrong with a shark movie. We've got Men. I actually haven't seen this movie yet. I meant to, and then we never got around to it. We'll get to it at some point. We've got My Soul to Take. I actually haven't seen it. We've got The Night House. I still haven't seen that one either. We've got Oculus. I still have to watch this movie, but it's a Mike Flanagan, so I'm going to have to get in there. And then we've got Overlord. This is a really solid, like, World War II, like, zombie horror movie. It's just freaking so much better than I thought it was going to be. It's a fucking wild ride. We're nearing the end, baby. We've got the entire Paranormal Activity 6 movie collection. I've actually only ever seen the third Paranormal Activity because I went on a date with a girl too who wanted to see it, so I've only ever seen the third one. So I'm going to have to get around to watching the rest of those. We've got the remake of Poltergeist. I've never seen it. We've got the Purge 4 movie collection. They're all fine movies. They're nothing that's going to like break the bank, but they're enjoyable enough. We've got Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. I didn't think they'd be able to make a worse movie than the Mia Jovovich ones, and yet here we are with this bad boy. And then the Netflix TV show was like, hold on, I can beat that, and they did. We've got the 8-movie Jigsaw Saw collection. I've only up seen to the final chapter. I never saw the Jigsaw movie, not that I think I'm fucking missing anything at that point. So these movies, yeah, there's something all right. I really only like the first 2. Maybe 3, I don't know. I've only ever seen the first one recently. I got to go back and rewatch all the other ones. And I've got the first one on 4K because I really like the slipcover. It's fucking awesome. We've got the Scream 5 film set. It's actually the first 3 Scream movies and then these like documentaries, it looks like. Still Screaming and then Scream the Inside Story. But we got this for the first 3 of them. We'll see the other 2 like later on again, but we got to keep this bad boy for Scream 3 at the moment. Although I'm sure I can upgrade and sell that if Scream 3 eventually comes out into its own slipcover / steelbook collection. We've got The Shining, classic horror movie. Like I said, I like Dr. Sleep more, but I still think this is a really good movie. I love this fucking cover, too. It's phenomenal. We've got Spiral, the Book of Saw, this fucking movie. Or the less said about that movie, the better. We've got Jordan Peele's second effort, Us. This is a really good movie as well. He has yet to make a bad movie. Today is release day, and I am going to pick up, once I finish this video, going to pick up Nope. So Nope will be added to this horror collection also in a few hours. We've got The Visit, a movie that revitalized M. Night Shyamalan. This is a nice little body horror movie. We've got X. This is a fucking just really good slasher movie. Very entertaining. And then finishing us off here in this Blu-ray 4K slipcover pile, we have You're Next, another just awesome slasher movie right there. Then we've got some sci-fi horror that actually I put in the sci-fi pile, but we'll go through a few of them here. You got your 10 Cloverfield Lane, great movie. You got your original baby, Alien, just a fucking phenomenal horror movie. One of the best creature features to ever do it, up there along with Jaws. And then we've got this horror movie, The Astronaut's Wife. We've got Cloverfield, great little horror movie right there. We got this Nicolas Cage movie, Color Out of Space. Actually, haven't seen that one yet. We got Doom, which is a really silly horror action movie. We've got the original The Fly. Actually, haven't seen that. We've got Life. This is a really good like sci-fi horror movie. We've got Peninsula. This is another really good. This is a South Korean horror movie. It's freaking phenomenal. We've got the classic baby, the original The Thing. Freaking so good. We've got this underwater horror movie, Underwater. And then we've got World War Z. And this one's not so much a horror movie, but we have been showing all the other creature features, so we might as well keep it going. We've got Beast. We've got this horror movie that I missed, The Invisible Man. Freaking phenomenal. I love this movie. And then one last shark movie for the pile, baby. The Shallows. I guess we'll show our box sets right here too now too. We've got the Critters collection, Critters 1 through 4. I think I've only actually seen the first one, so I'm going to have to watch the rest of those at some point. We've got the Universal's classic monsters, which is Dracula, Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, and the Wolfman. I do have to pick up the Universal Classic Monsters Volume 2, but again, I'm waiting for a little decent drop in price before I pick that bad boy up. And then we've got this Underworld collection, which is the 4 or 5 Underworld versus werewolf verse vampire movies. I've only seen the first 3 so far. The first one's solid. The other 2 that I've watched are pretty fucking silly. And then we'll finish this off now with our Steelbook horror movies. We've got A Quiet Place, absolutely masterful. We've got the sequel, A Quiet Place Part 2. We've got Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, classic. We've got Christine, a fun little Stephen King adaptation. We're showing it up again. We got Bram Stoker's Dracula. Just a wild, the practical effects work in that movie is astoundingly good. We've got Friday the 13th, the 8-movie collection, 8 wild rides. And then I've got Part 2. And I've got Part 3. I still got to pick up the first one that they put out to have that whole collection there. And then we've got Fright Night, which actually just came out. I've never seen it. I can't wait to watch this movie. We've got the original My Bloody Valentine. I got to check that movie out. We've got the original Pet Sematary. There's a really good Stephen King adaptation. We've got what might be my favorite horror movie of all time, along with The Conjuring, and that is Poltergeist. We've got Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. We've got Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. We've got the original Scream, baby. Do you like scary movies? And then we've got Scream 2, which just came out. Hopefully they do a steelbook for Scream 3 and 4, and then I can have this whole collection here, because then we've also got the latest Scream movie that just came out at the beginning of the year. Solid little movie right there. Oof, bringing us home. We've got Train to Busan, freaking just masterfully good horror movie right there. We've got Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. It's one of the few Alfred Hitchcock movies I haven't seen. And then we've got Zombieland Double Tap. I have the first Zombieland somewhere, but I don't know where it's hiding, so you won't be seeing that one. And then we'll finish it off with the little ones that I have, our Lionsgate steelbooks. We've got Rob Zombie's 31. Haven't seen that movie. We've got the absolute classic American Psycho. We've got another wicked, twisted fun in the Cabin in the Woods. This is just a great horror comedy. And then one last time, you've already seen it twice. We're going for the hat trick. We've got the Saw steelbook, the original Saw. This steelbook is just really freaking good. The artwork on that is just incredible. And that will do it for everything in my horror collection. Still not as crazy as a lot of people's, but I'm getting there. It's slowly growing, and I'm continuing to grow it as much as I can with things that come out. Hopefully this time next year when we do this video again, I will have a nice, big, burgeoning Halloween collection that we can go through and see all the new titles that we have added over the next year. But that will do it for all of us here at The Outpost in today's video. Until next time, you have been you, I have been me. These are the horror movies that we love to let scare the shit out of us. And until next time, adventure on.